It's Overtime with Carly Zucker on The Fan. Presented by Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union. Now, with a look at what Minnesota teams and sports figures do to give back to our communities. Here's The Fan's Carly Zucker.
Welcome to another Overtime presented by Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union. Thanks for tuning in. Brianne and I coming to you from the studio. Makes me so happy.
I know, I'm happy too.
Girl, it's the best. And we're right off the bat, we're going to have our guests join us because sometimes you and I like banter a little bit, especially with COVID, and then we bring someone in on the call. But our special guest gets to be in studio with us, and we love him, not only from Twitter and KFAN, but just he's like number one dad right now in the country. And so Ron Johnson joining us for Overtime. You know him, you love him. If you don't follow him on Twitter, tell everybody where they can follow you because you're like the Twitter god.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But 3 Ron Johnson on Twitter. So real simple. But I did do
It's
3
Ron Johnson.
The number 3 Ron Johnson on Twitter, Instagram. So yeah, I mean, it was a joke 3 years ago on the fan line for the Vikings on KFAN.
Okay.
And then it just became its own little monster of, hey, Ron, did you know Ron was on Twitter? Ron's on Twitter.
It.
But yeah.
You got to have a bit. Like, you have a bunch of them. But
yeah, it's funny. I look back at old tweets from one, because you never know right now. You got to make sure you don't have any crazy stuff out there.
Crap, what did I do?
Yep.
Yeah,
so I'm typing in like curse words and all kinds of stuff to make sure like all that stuff. Like if I curse, I want to be okay with it, but I don't want to like say anything ridiculous.
Right.
So I've been looking at that. So I was pretty good. I was proud of myself. Like
so you didn't find anything.
Yeah, like 2012 me, I was like, oh Lord, I don't know what I'm gonna find. But I wasn't bad.
Who was 2012 you?
2012 me, we had just had our first child.
Okay.
But we were still young. I mean, 2012 was 32. So I was, we were babysitters being dropped off all the time, which was mother-in-law, our mother-in-law. And she lived in Iowa, but she comes up all the time. But we were we were young. So we were like, you would just get mad at everything. So you didn't care who you went off on social. Because this is before, the Vikings Game Day Live stuff. So yeah, I've had arguments with Penn State fans over Joe Paterno. And I used to be really like outspoken about stuff like that, like the whole like child crap. I hate that.
Oh my God.
And
nothing worse.
I got absolutely like I think I was in a fight for maybe 5 hours one night because one of the Penn State players who transferred to USC. Yeah. I just simply tweeted. At first, it was an innocent tweet. I just said, "Hey, good to see Silas Red's the kid's name. I'll never forget that because it's in my mind." He had left, and I'm like, "Good to see him leaving, going to USC, getting a chance to play without all that drama."
Yeah. Yep.
People absolutely lost their mind, like protecting Penn State, and I'm like, "You can't protect what happened," And so I just So some of my tweets was bad. I was like cursing people out.
But it was for the right purpose. Like, yeah. I would look back on that and be like, bravo, good for you.
But you never know. You call somebody an effing idiot and, a pedophile lover, and you never know what people will take that from.
Do they deserve it? That's all.
They did a little bit.
Then that's
they did. Some of those people down there, they would rather protect a coach's legacy over getting justice for people like those kids. Those little boys will never be the same. No. And so I'm glad it's done, but I did go, like I said, I went to my Twitter, nothing bad. And so then now it's just, now people just keep bringing it up. So now I'm just trying to grow Instagram.
It's awesome now. Yeah. Like, that's great. Yeah. Okay, now you're going on to Instagram. Okay, this is like, we could just do a whole topic on a whole show on
I learned
Ron
Instagram
Johnson's
from you.
Social media.
Like watching your Instagram is where I kind of learned it. You got to show the different outfits. You got to show the family. You got to make the jokes about your husband.
Yeah, Instagram's like the highlight reel for me. A lot of people like to be real on there, and I like to be the opposite, where it's like people are like reality versus like Instagram. I'm like, no, I'm just straight Instagram. But Twitter's where I run into problems too. You know that, where it's after a glass of wine, someone take away my Twitter account because anything's possible.
That's what I'm
glad. What about you? Like,
I love the highlight reel as well.
Okay, so you well, yours is beautiful too. Yours is like very nature focused, which I like. Gives me a lot of calm. Good. Very calm.
That's what it's for.
Okay, well, we love Ron, and we could just banter with him all day, but we have him in here for, of course, something. If you're on social media, you already know about this, but we're talking about Kamryn and Friends bracelet bunch, which is, of course, we can we call it like a charity now? Like what your like a movement your daughter started with?
I blame Brienne.
creating
Brienne
these-
started it.
Yeah, right.
Like if it wasn't for Brienne on that
Kamryn,
Sunday
no.
with Jason Zucker with Justin Guard, I don't know how many we would have sold.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, because it was literally a joke when I was on air with Brienne and JG. It had to be June something, early June after this first happened, and they just happened to be going outside. Wanted to make money as a kid and sell lemonade. And so then my daughter's like, oh, I got this bracelet stuff, which is this stuff I'm in my hand right now. You can't see it.
Yeah,
But
Ron is currently like making a bracelet.
yeah, they've taught me.
right now.
Yep. So I'm going to make you one. But
And I see that it's penguins colors. Thank
exactly.
you.
I did remember that
So
when I left the
sweet.
house. I'm like, I had the green but I'm like, you know what? He's
Yeah, we
not
don't-
green anymore.
Yeah, and like we don't really know. Like none of us really know who Jason's playing for. Like check your Twitter because he could be on another team right now. We don't know. But yeah, like it's a mystery at all times.
Yeah, so he's a penguin, so we got the black,
so like,
gold, and
but
white.
you might just want to like make a mix of that. Like every NHL team, maybe just start compiling them
just
if you don't mind.
do a Zucker bracelet.
Yeah,
It'll
that would
have
be-
all his teams. I'm going to do that tonight. I'm going to make a Zucker bracelet.
I love it.
I was going to do a Mark Parrish bracelet, but they didn't have enough. There was too many colors.
There's not. Yeah, there's not enough. Yeah, you'd have to have. That would be like a wrapped arm bracelet. That would have to be a necklace.
It's too much. But yeah,
so Kamryn, like,
so
let's
they
talk about
wanted
your
to sell
daughter.
bracelets, and George Floyd had just gotten murdered, and so Minneapolis was an absolute nightmare. Rioting and all the stuff, and seeing it. And my daughter had not seen it. We made sure we thought 9. We'd rather have that conversation than her see it on TV. So we didn't really watch the news around her and that, but. JG and I were talking about that. Like, what do you do with your kids? And Chad Greenway had just spoke before that as well about what he does with his daughters with this situation. And I just kind of explained, well, we told her some bad stuff has happened because she knows, she knew,
Of course,
but
yeah, they're
we didn't want her
smart
to see
and
it.
smarter
Yeah.
than you even know at that age.
Yeah. And so my wife just said, well, this is what happened. Hey, do you guys want to give the money to help the families in Minneapolis? And without hesitation, they were like, sure. And this was right before, literally, it had happened right before I got on with Justin and Brienne. And so as I'm getting off the air, so it was a second thought. This wasn't part of the interview. He said, oh, so what are you guys going to do today? I said, oh, we're just going to be outside selling bracelets. I was like, I think my daughter will sell 5 or 6. And I'm pretty sure people can find the audio.
5 or 6.
5 or 6 bracelets. Literally, some guy, which I told Brienne this, the first guy that told Brienne he wanted to give $500 never showed up. Like,
Okay.
he texted me. I told him where we're at. He never actually showed up. So I'm like, whatever. And then later that day, Chad Greenway donates a decent amount of money. And then Adam Thielen. And then Spice Adams. And then, I hear from Carly Zucker, and she's talking about it. And all these people, Rachel Bannum and Lindsay Whalen and Richard Pitino. And so the next day, 3 days later, when I look, at that point, we had raised probably over $8,000 in just bracelets. And so I tweeted that, hey, this is crazy. So
That alone is a huge amount. Like,
Yeah.
8,000, that's a massive amount of
And
money.
then the next day, the kids wanted to keep going. And so Tuesday, I'll never forget this Tuesday because I was probably a bad parent this morning. I was tired. And my daughter gets up early, and I'm like, oh, just go back to bed. You know how it is.
Yes, I
just
do.
go to your room. And then you're like, oh, just go get an iPad.
Yeah.
And then she says, well, can we go outside? And I'm like, I remember thinking, I don't want my kids to be addicted to technology. So I'm like, you know what? Yes, go outside. They go outside and set the table up without us. We didn't even realize it. So we go outside. All of a sudden, there's a line of people who had pulled up to our street again. And so we're like, crap, this thing is really. And so 4 days later, we're at 35,000. And then that's when Good Morning America calls us. And then that's when, everybody else starts. Richard Pitino tweets again, I'm in. I don't know what that meant, but Richard Pitino just tweeted it.
Yeah.
So other basketball coaches start. We had Colorado State out of nowhere reached out to us and wanted 35 bracelets for their entire men's basketball team because they wanted to tell the story. And so we made bracelets for them. And then NCU, school in Minneapolis, he reaches out. Hey, I have a girls team. Can I get 25 bracelets for my girls team? And then what's crazy, a lady from Baltimore, I don't even know how she figured this out, but then I did put 2 and 2 together. Stefanski is the head coach for the Browns.
Okay.
Her brother is a coach on the Browns staff.
Got it.
So she reaches out and she says, hey, can I get 35 bracelets for my class? I'm a 5th grade teacher. I want to teach my kids in my class that no matter how young you are, you can do great things. And so we're like, sure, we'll make 35 bracelets. So I made, and it's crazy, their colors are the same as the Penguins. They were black, gold, and white.
Sweet.
And so I made the bracelets. And I'm just like, hey, how much do you want to donate? I'm thinking, $500, whatever. Right. 5,000. And I was like, wait, what? And like, I don't know if we can curse on this podcast, but I was like,
you may not.
Okay.
Because this
It's
is
on the radio.
first.
Correct.
This is not just a podcast.
And so I was like, holy crap. But I cursed because
Yeah.
I could not
You're
believe
just like
it.
shocked in the moment.
Yeah, because like if it comes from, and nothing against, rich athletes, if it comes from an athlete, it's not as shocking. It's crazy because like, wow, why would you donate that much for bracelets? Like it made me cry, as a grown man to cry because just the outpour, and I'm trying not to tear up now, but just the outpour of love to see that. And so for this random person from Baltimore to fly to Minnesota, she flew to Minnesota. We met at Continental Diamond. And she literally, because at first I was like, if she's a crazy person, I need security.
Yeah,
Dead serious.
like
I was
I'm
dead
gonna have
serious. I was like,
somebody around.
I was like,
you never know. I mean,
you don't know.
especially nowadays. Yeah,
You don't know. She could have been a catfish. She is a cute, attractive young lady. Her name is Katie Kristovich. If anybody wants to find her on Instagram, you can go to my Instagram, 3 Ron Johnson, see the picture and the story. But she's an attractive young lady. So when I saw that, I'm like, this might be a catfish. Like this, I'm like, this is not real. You're not meeting me to give me a $5,000 check for some bracelets. Shows up to Continental Diamond that day. Security guard is standing there. Uncle Jimmy takes the picture for us.
Oh, Uncle Jimmy.
Yeah, he came out because I wanted him to meet her.
Yeah.
And also because then I found out her boyfriend is thinking about marrying her.
Ooh, well,
Right.
then that was a perfect introduction.
Right. So I told him, I'm like, hey,
yeah.
Uncle Jimmy, there's her boyfriend.
Ron Johnson's also a matchmaker.
I am a
like,
matchmaker.
within the jewelry industry.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hook him up, when he's ready to get the ring. Because he is. And so that's why she was here too. Her boyfriend lives in Minnesota. She lives in Baltimore. Her boyfriend lives in.
So, I mean, there's
So
tons
it was
of little
it was tons of
That's amazing,
connections,
yeah.
and it just was one of those. Honestly, it's one of those God things where you're just like, too many things happened the way it happened for this to work out the way it did, and so now these kids are going to tell a story about Kamryn this school year, hopefully this school year, but this school year, and just learn
the
that
power of what can be done no matter how
Exactly.
what age. What I love too is like I love how it was kind of like in your head you're thinking, well, you're spending that much on bracelets, but they were spending that much on the message your daughter was sending.
correct.
Which is so like the bracelets are adorable, and I mean I think it's an awesome token to give people. But it was the fact that they were behind your daughter. So like as a dad, that must just you don't get more proud because the accomplishments of your kids, like of course sports or education or whatever it may be that they love, the arts, but like this is a deeper level, and so I mean. Just say how proud of you are. I mean, it's obvious. You must be so proud of her.
I am like I'm floored.
Yeah.
Both my kids. I mean, I'm floored though. Like her ability to stick with it too, because like to do it one day, most kids would be like, all right, we're done for the summer. Like we want to play, and I've been very big on like go play. Like I don't want you to waste the summer.
You don't have to live in this. Like,
But they love it. Like the kids like it. And for her, it's all about, and it sounds cliche, but it is about the friendship, the friendship she's created, because those same kids in our neighborhood, being a black girl and these being white kids who, when they see her, they may or may not know what she's about. She doesn't look like them. So I know for kids, sometimes it's tough to even understand, like, do we play with the same toys? Like, I don't know black families. And so we hadn't had any interaction with a lot of these families besides the one set of twins. They don't even do anything. They're younger. But Xander, the boy, his dad played at NDSU. So he and I have had conversations. And then the mom, Gina, works at a Lifetime where my wife works out. So we knew them. But the other ones we hadn't really met.
okay.
Like some of the dads knew me from KFAN. So whenever I would come around, or Fox, whenever I come around, because we're in a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Whenever I come around and grab Kamryn from the cul-de-sac or whatever, she's over there riding her bike or whatever, the dads would talk to me about sports, but that was it. When this happened now, like when I left the house today, there was, I think, 9 kids at our house in our backyard playing on the trampoline, and they had the sprinklers going. And so I think she really likes that. The fact that people are not, it's not her going to find friends, it's friends seeking her out, because there was times she'd go play and she'd come home sad because they didn't want to play with her. Or she went to another park, and not these group of kids, but a different group of kids that literally told her, we don't want to play with you because you're brown.
No.
And maybe they were thinking she's a Muslim. Maybe they were thinking who knows what. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Regardless, yeah, that
Like
doesn't
Muslim, black, Asian, white, transgender. Like if we all just saw each other as humans and then don't worry about the other stuff, I think we would be better people. And that's what these kids are showing people, and I'm hoping it continues. But it's been amazing to just see the friendship that these group of kids. I mean, they've met Harrison Smith now. They've met Rachel Banham. They've talked to Kelly Clarkson on FaceTime. Like that stuff, like they'll grow up
Wow,
and remember
moments for them.
these stories. Like I remember when Adam Thielen sent me a video. Adam Thielen and Asher sent Kamryn a video. All that kind of stuff where she'll have these memories to say, wow, I actually knew one of the best receivers.
And I created this movement where everybody cared. And, and you were saying like we're all human and we all need to appreciate each other's differences. Like,
correct.
I think it's okay to see color. Let's appreciate what that means, though.
Oh, you have to see color.
Yeah, and
colorblind is actually something that needs to get taken out because it's like saying I don't see men or women, because men say that sometimes, like, oh, I'm not sexist. I don't care if it's a man or a woman. I'll work with anybody, or I'll do. And it's like you have to see a female because you should treat her differently. You should respect her even more, and not to say. Like men shouldn't respect men. You should, but women are God's gift.
And it's the experience that other person has
Correct.
had to appreciate that, try to understand it.
Correct.
I think try to learn. And like you said, not be colorblind, but like respect and understand and learn.
100%. And that's why like you see so many HR issues like with that team in Washington. We don't know what their name's going to be. But I think that was the issue. They didn't see women. And so they would act the same way around men as they do around women, but then there has to be a line drawn. And I think it's the same thing with race. Like you can, like I get people act differently around their groups of friends, but then when you're in a social setting or you're in a work setting, you need to see the differences and then respect them. Like, just because somebody's wearing a turban or they might be wearing a hijab or a black person has braids or a white person has dreadlocks, whatever it might be. Don't look at that person like, oh, why are they dressed like that? Like
appreciate it, respect
exactly.
it. Yeah.
And when
Ron
you
Johnson
do that,
just spit knowledge today. I like this. Oh,
hey,
preach. I love it. Brianne's over there nodding. She's like, this is good stuff.
Well, we had a pretty good conversation last
love
Sunday
that.
after our show, and we talked a lot about this stuff. And Ron knows a lot of stuff, and he's very into it.
Thing, like, it's fun to listen to you talk.
Perceptive.
Like I love listening to you talk. So we don't have. I wish we had all the time in the world. We don't have it, but I do. So I do want to talk about the basics of the bracelets too, like how people can support because, this, like you said, this wasn't a one day thing. It's not a week thing. This is something that Kamryn's continuing to do.
Yeah.
So how can people support? Can they give? How can they place their orders? All the details of the bracelets.
Yeah, if they go to GoFundMe, they can search Kamryn Friends bracelets, and it's with a K, Kamryn, Kamryn and Friends bracelets, or Kamryn's bracelets for unity and justice. Either that, you'll pop it up. It'll pop up. But Kamryn and Friends bracelets on GoFundMe. They can donate, and then also in the comments they can leave their address and how many bracelets they want. We are shipping them out. We are not a business, so it's not like a 1 week. Because people are like, "Oh, what's the turn time?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't know. Like these are 9-year-olds. You'll get it when you get it." But we are sending them out. We try to send out at least 200 every week.
We're committed to doing it, but like. Hold your horses.
Correct. Because I just don't have, like today, I didn't have time to go to the post office. So, like, literally sitting on our kitchen counter right now is like 50 envelopes full of bracelets. So,
Kamryn's going to need an assistant.
Hopefully
soon,
tomorrow.
That can drive
So, that's the next step is we're gonna hire a robot or something. But, and then the other way is if they just reach out to me on Twitter, I usually can point them in the direction of Venmo. We also did start our 501c3 now. So, it's through Fidelity Charitable. It's Kamryn and Friends, and I get the full name, but it's got the Johnson Family Fund.
It is a 501c3.
It is a 501c3, so they can reach out to me via Twitter or whatever and DM me, and I can email them the info to Fidelity Charitable, and Fidelity will handle it. So if they want to donate 10,000, 15,000, whatever, like we're doing with Little Caesars right now, they just donated 10,000. They can send that directly to them, and then they will get the tax refund or whatever the statement from them saying, hey, thanks for your donation, blah, blah, and then you can write it off on your taxes. But we set that up for the simple fact of all the money on GoFundMe is going through there now. All the money on Venmo is going to go through there because we want to make sure, one, people are safe feeling like we're putting it in a charity, but two, we want to make sure that when we give, like if we give to a church or we give to whoever, we want to make sure they have a trail of what this is for. So when we gave to Sanctuary Church down in Minneapolis, same deal. We wanted them to know this $5,000 is for specifically your Minneapolis Relief Fund. Like we don't want it to go to the building
very
fund.
Specific.
Very specific. We're going to work with the Chamber of Commerce in Edina and probably St. Paul. Same thing. We want them to know these are for the businesses that were affected by the riots, who their insurance riders are saying you need $10,000 deductible. And they're like, I don't have $10,000 to give you for a deductible to get windows and carpet. And, so we want to be able to do that as well through the 501c3, and it goes directly to those businesses. But that's what's been fun. And honestly, it's been fun just to carry cash because I've been giving, like today I gave a guy $20 at Target, because he said he was, he could buy a creamer, but he couldn't buy coffee. So I gave him a 20. I saw a family on the road. They said, we're not poor, but we're struggling right now. And I know that's tough to even stand out there and do that.
Of course.
And so I gave them like $100. I think that's the other part of this is we want to be the hands and feet of Minneapolis, of the suburbs or whoever's donating to us to say, hey, we're going to give. And I tell people hey, this is why,
from here,
this is where it's from. And, but even Michael's, shout out to Michael's who gave us all the $5,000 worth of stuff to make these bracelets now. And so it's been, and then we just partnered with Jimmy John's. They're going to now support us on all of our pop-ups, and they're going to bring sandwiches out for people to have a sandwich and, hang out. And so it's been a wild ride with all the stuff and people, and the CEO of Lokai Bracelets reached out to us and said, hey, do you want to make a rubber bracelet?
This is like the future of Kamryn and Friends Bracelet Punch. What I was going to ask you, what is the future? But this is part of it.
Yeah, that's part of it. We want to, I think the bracelet, we're going to have a rubber bracelet like the one I'm wearing, and it's going to look braided like a bracelet. And Kamryn picked her favorite colors. So we let Kamryn pick, and it's purple, teal, and navy blue. Those are her favorite 3 colors. And so we're going to make a bracelet out of those 3 colors. We're going to write a story behind it. So in the packaging, they'll get a letter that has a picture of all the kids. It's going to have the story of Minneapolis. And then the donation side, because Lokai usually gives $1, we're partnering with them to say, hey, we want to give more. We don't want to give just $1. We're not in this for the profit. And so we're trying to work it out. We can give $5 back to the charity. And so, same deal, $18. It'll ship out of, and we're going to ship it out of Minnesota because we want the kids to kind of own this. We don't want Lokai to just do the work and we're sitting back. We want to bring, 5,000 bracelets in.
What a great learning experience, too, for them.
And I want the kids to be able to, I talked to the CEO of Business Impact Group, Paul Taunton, and I'm like, hey, can the kids come in and, see the warehouse and watch the stuff get packaged and see their product go out the door? Because I want to, I think there's opportunity, too, to create some young entrepreneurs for kids to see
1,000%.
A small idea can turn into a big deal, and who knows? One of the kids might want to be the next Carly Aplin, and
I doubt that. Yeah, very much doubt that. One look at my Twitter and they'll be like, "No, thank you. Nope."
I'm pretty sure they would.
How many bracelets have been made? Do you know? Like a guesstimate?
So I know when we were in Detroit for the last 10 days visiting my mom, between just me and my wife and my daughter, we probably made over 300. The twins, the two, they're the 12-year-old twins. They made over the 10-day period, they've made 400. In one weekend, they made 200. So I'd have to say we have to be around 5,000 bracelets have been made at this point.
Unbelievable.
Because everybody's been making them. Parents have been making them. Like I learned. It's been all hands on deck with some of these. Like we had a company in Florida reach out, said they wanted 90 bracelets. We had a guy today show up to the pop-up in St. Paul and said he wanted 40 bracelets. So it's just been person after person. We're like, hey, we got to make,
Well, if you
more.
will have her, I would like to send my daughter your way. She's 10, and she would if your daughter could teach her how to make them. I think she has an idea, but if she could teach her,
if you ever want to send her to the pop-up, like she can ride over there with us. It's literally 8 little girls and then 3 little boys. So it's a bunch of kids playing. It's 2 12-year-olds, 4 9-year-olds, a 5-year-old, 2 twin 4-year-olds.
That's her jam.
And then and then some other little babies in there too. But yeah, if she wants to come out to Rosemount, we can take her out there and hang out with the kids.
Bounce
and
on that tram.
Bounce house.
Okay, one more time. We're rolling out here. One more time, Ron Johnson, give us that GoFundMe page.
Kamryn and Friends bracelets. And awesome. It's Unity and Justice. But they just put in Kamryn and Friends bracelets. It's going to pop up. They can donate there. And then again, reach out to me on Twitter, 3Ron Johnson. If you have any questions about it, I can get you the info for our 501c3.
Perfect.
And it's been a fun ride.
Awesome. Well, Ron Johnson, she's an amazing gal because she has amazing parents. Thank you to you. Thank you to your sweet daughter. Thank you to Affinity Plus and Brianne. That's it for Overtime.